how can we possibly create peace in the midst of these tumultuous times that we are all living in, even if, like me, you haven't read a newspaper or watched television in many, many years? You can still just feel when you go out, when you're running your errands, that people are managing so much and people are going through so much. There's an overwhelming feeling of not knowing what to do and not understanding what is occurring in life anymore. And although I feel the same in my personal and business life, an overall perplexity as to what in the world is going on, I still think that there is a proverbial silver lining in all of this. Please know I'm not taking away from what anyone is going through. As you are going through many things in your life, I am too. And when we live long enough, we realize that there's times when things are peaceful and there's times when we just don't understand what is occurring or why it is occurring. But we do know that this too shall pass, because it always does. One of my favorite thoughts in life is that the great thing about life is nothing ever stays the same. And maybe that sounds not happy, but I actually think most of the time that is a happy thought, a happy fact, that the one constant in life is that life is ever changing. And so what that means on the positive side, on the upbeat side, on the life will get better side, is that because life is always changing, that even with all that is so complicated in our personal lives, possibly or absolutely in our nation or the greater world, even though that is so complicated, that too shall pass. And the reason it shall pass is nothing ever stays the same in life. The sun rises and sets, the leaves come onto the trees and fall off, the seasons change, people are born, people pass on. The constant in life is kind of that there's not a constant in that way of an assuredness of knowing exactly how all the details of life will turn out. So my message is a message of comfort. I really do believe that so much of what we are seeing, it was actually all really going on for a very long time. It is just that everything is being unearthed and revealed in a way that God deems is the best way for it to be revealed. And yes, there is sometimes a personal cost to truth coming out, and maybe even beyond truth, there's a personal cost to us having to look at things in our lives that previously we could avoid looking at or let it just go by. But now we're in a place where personally and collectively as a humanity, we have to face things. And in my own life, in looking at certain things, and even though it's painful to let go of relationships, or even a lot of us are in a place where we're having to no longer stay in contact with people we are related to, I really think it's okay. It's okay. I'm not saying it doesn't hurt, or at first it can be very difficult, yes, to become accustomed to not being in contact with people that we've known for a long time. But if we have that much of a difference in what we value in life, then how authentic were those relationships anyway? They weren't based on an intended untruthfulness, but ultimately we just don't have in common with people what we thought we had in common with people. And I'm saying I choose that to be something good. It frees me and you and whomever is letting go of relationships in this time based on values that are being challenged, I think that letting go of others is positive. One, maybe they'll grow and maybe they'll become all that God created them to be. But even if not, it's not your responsibility or my responsibility for us to be sure that other people grow and become all that God meant them to be. So maybe you would say, well, if you're a person that believes in God, are we not our brother's keeper? And of course, yes, God said that, and God is always right, always right. And we are our brother's keeper, but there are a lot of brothers out there and sisters that we can be keepers of. And if there's someone or a group of people in your life that it's just not working with anymore, then it's not your job to be their keeper. Let someone else have that opportunity, and maybe their being their brother's keeper will work out better than you being it. So in this day and age, with so much surfacing, and again, it was already all occurring, it's just being brought out into the open now. What can you do, and what can I do? What I found is the little things in life are the big things, which is another thought I've had for a long time, that the little things are the big things and the big things take care of themselves. So what's important, if you have a pet that you love and can take care of, that's wonderful, because they cannot take care of themselves and they need your love to live, to prosper, to be healthy. And second, I've found that being in nature, even if it's just walking outside of my apartment and sitting on the step for 30 or 60 seconds, just to remember that the trees are still there and the birds are still there and the sky is still up there somewhere. And even though it seems like everything is crashing in, that actually there's still a great stability that exists in this world, just in nature itself. And if you happen to have the ability in your life to go be around other people, you don't even have to interact with them. Maybe walk around the mall or go get a cup of coffee or tea, or in my instance, I love to go to the gym. Just being around other people and seeing that most people are trying to just carry on and do what normal people do, which is take care of themselves and take care of their pets and take care of the responsibilities in their own life. And it's not an obligation to be around a lot of people. It's not an obligation to quote unquote have friends. And the quote unquote part is, remember that friends are great and family is great, and I'm not taking away from any of that, but I think a lot of people feel very down now because they feel so alone, not understood. And my offering to you and what I've come to conclude in life is, and really I've thought this since I was a little girl, which is, as long as I have God, and God's always there, whatever your interpretation and understanding of God is, which of course is going to be unique to you, God is always there for me, and I can always be there for me. And I can count on those two things, and you can count on those two things. So I want to remind you that the feeling of being alone is something that's actually pretty common, and for that not to be something that feels devastating to you, because one, you're never alone. Whatever your idea of God is, that power is always there for you and with you, always a power of the positive and for the good, the God power. And secondly, you can be your own best friend and your own cheerleader and your own therapist, your own confidant. And my life has been very, very hard. And the way that I've accomplished what I have so far, obviously God's mercy and grace, but the way I keep going on is I love me. And regardless of if one person on this planet, if there wasn't one person that liked me, it's all right, because I know me better than anyone else. And I love me and God loves me. So I hope this message brings some stability to your thoughts. And I hope that there's something that I've said that helps you in your daily life. And as always, as I say at the end of every podcast episode, remember, God loves you and I love you. Thanks for listening.